So sit down with World of Warcraft Classic team designers. Everybody, if you're standing, sit down. If you're laying, stand up and then sit down. If you're sitting down, remain seated. To explore more of what Season of Discovery Phase 2 has in store for you, we will take you through new raid information, dungeons, rune abilities, PvP, profession updates, and more. Hell yeah. With this preview, we want to take a moment to get ahead of the PTR. Like the classic PTR, the content for SOD Phase 2 will not actually be available to play. Okay, right, cool. That's good, so it doesn't get spoiled. We will also want to help assuage any incorrect assumptions from a data mining that has occurred, as the PTR also holds some of the data that could be misleading as experimentals, meant for later phase, or even items that did not make it out. Please know these are all examples, are work in progress, and may not reflect final stats. Oh, we actually have a video. Oh, great. Join the WoW Classic development team members. Okay, cool. Let's watch the vid. I didn't know that. 32 minutes! Phase 2 preview. Oh my gosh. Let's go, boys. This will be good. We get a deep dive into the Season of Discovery. Oh, is it a power?
Hi, I'm Linny Cook-Saverline, and I'm a producer on WoW Classic.
Okay, it's a
Back
PowerPoint,
at BlizzCon,
maybe.
we had the absolute pleasure of finally sharing Season of Discovery with you all.
Okay.
And we've loved watching all of the new challenges you've overcome, the meta you've created, and the adventures you've all had in Phase 1. And now we'd like to chat with you about Phase 2.
Okay.
Today we're going to do a brief overview of some of the new adventures in store for you.
Sweet.
Our topics today include information about our new 10-player raid Nomergon, dungeon updates, rune ability updates, PvP updates, profession updates,
oh, sweet,
and more.
We have a lot of content
which should
here.
help answer some of the questions we've gotten around our previous phase and where we're going with the new one. We're going to bop through our slides pretty fast, so you may want to pause or watch back through the recording if you want to catch everything on the slides.
Sounds good.
We're also going to put the build up on the PTR soon. We're doing something similar to Phase 1, where we only make the era and hardcore content available, not the season itself. It is likely there will be some data mining, but beware, not everything you see data mined will actually be in the patch. This build will contain some experimental things, stuff for later phases, and things that maybe didn't work quite how we wanted them to.
Cool.
We're going to start off talking about our new raid Nomergon. Our assistant lead designer, Tim Jones, will be walking us through it. Take it away, Tim.
Hey, Tim.
Hello there. Thank you, Lenny, for that introduction. I'm Tim Jones, the assistant lead game designer on World of Warcraft Classic, and it's my pleasure to talk to you more and give you a sneak peek at Nomergon, the second level up raid in Season of Discovery, and the raid content that you'll be participating in at level 40 in Phase 2. Let's get into it. So much like Black Fathom Deeps, Nomergon will be a 10-player raid. There will be 6 bosses. They're originally...
A lot of people seem to be upset about the 10-player raid size. I'm a fan of it. The reason I'm a fan of it is because I don't think in the short term of how fun it would be if there was 25 players. I think in the long term of in 6 months from now, when players are leveling and the level cap is 60 or 50 or whatever, how are you going to get 25 players leveling at level 40 to do Nomergon? It's going to be really hard. So 10 players makes more sense for the leveling raids, in my opinion, for the longevity of the raids in later phases.
Only 5 bosses in Nomergon if you didn't count the Dark Iron Ambassador. So there's one more new boss that no one's ever fought before.
Oh, cool.
And of course, redesigns from the ground up on all of the other bosses. So brand new experience overall. A ton of new rewards and items. More epics than we had in Black Fathom Deeps, with more sources, different bosses than just the last 2 bosses, dropping those. New item sets for classes to pursue. The quests and rewards have been brought up to level 40. And there's a brand new profession quest chain that leads into a pretty deep opportunity for people to find materials and craft a lot of really cool and powerful items.
Wait, guys, there's 2 epics in BFD. 3 times 2 is 6. Oh, is there 3 epics? Oh, there's actually, okay, there's 3 epics. I thought there was 2. And I was like, okay, they would have said 4 if it was more than that, so it's probably 7 epics. There's actually 3 epics. Okay, yeah, the staff, the crossbow, and the okay. Yeah, okay.
Josh will get into that more.
You guys are
down
right.
the
I'm
line.
wrong. Okay.
But some of the play spaces have had some changes. For people who aren't familiar with the Grubbus and Chomper encounter, you might notice that there are some radiation vents that weren't here. Those will perhaps play a part in this encounter.
Cool.
Crowd Pummeler is now in a different part of the instance. I wonder what kind of mechanics something that punches you really hard might have to do with being on a platform above a pit of death.
That's
Who knows?
pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
And there's a lot of excited onlookers ready for you to take on this robot. And Sicko Thermoplug, last boss of the instance, may have added some additional mechanical suits with different properties to his arsenal, and you'll have to face off against those as well. Getting into a preview of the...
All right, let's pause here. So we have hands with fist and mace increase. We have a trinket with a domesticated attack chicken. Wow, okay. It's like a better battle chicken. Mechanostrider muffler, one-handed mace with 16 attack power. I'm trying to think. Is that even that good? Like 30 DPS one-handed mace. I mean, it's like pretty decent, I guess, because the attack power and the stamina, but it's not like that much better than like Vanquisher's Sword or something, right? We have Gearmender's Grace, 20 healing spells on a mace. I mean, it's pretty good. Is it that much better than the Scarlet Monastery mace? Yeah, I guess it is. We have Wardall's Hardened Core, which is a trinket, gives you dodge, armor, 1000 armor, and movement speed. Okay, that's pretty insane. We have a two-handed mace here, which I'll move my camera up so you can see. 69 attack power in Cat Bear and Dire Bear. That's nice, giving Feral some love. And held in offhand 14 spell damage. Okay, what I actually like about this is the gear isn't... It's better than Scarlet Monastery stuff, but it's not like twice as good. It's not like 100 times better. It's like what, 20%, like 10% better than Scarlet Monastery stuff. The mace is, yeah, the mace is like very unique. There's nothing like this for Ferals, because it's automatic crowd pummeler. They wanted to actually give Ferals some love, which I like. But like Gearmender's Grace isn't like that much better. This isn't like that. It's better, but it's what, like 10 or 20% better or something. So that's pretty good.
Exciting loot.
I like that.
There's some nods to old items. I think the one people will notice is the automatic crowd pummeler. No longer will you have to get individual manual crowd pummelers. You'll be able to pick up one and then use it over and over again with the cooldown.
That's nice.
So hopefully that's a great quality of life.
So for clarity, the old one, guys, had 3 charges. If you guys didn't play Classic WoW, it had 3 charges. Ever. Right? And then there was no more charges. So what Ferals would do is they'd farm Nomergon. They would hope for this drop. I think it's like a 1 in 3. They would get the manual crowd pummeler, and they can only use it 3 times. So they needed another and another. So they would farm like 5 or 10 of these to have in their bags or more for a raid, because the on use was so good because it gave you attack speed that people farmed a bunch to have in their bags. That's wild. Yeah. They literally had a bunch of them. And Blizzard kind of knew this, but you know, it was Classic WoW, so they didn't change anything because it's #no changes. It's Classic WoW, but in Season of Discovery, they decided to nod on it, just give it a cooldown so Ferals don't have to infinitely farm them.
Improvement. There's also some fun items that you can pick up. The Trog Transfigurator 3000, little Orb of Deception style transforming into a Trog.
Cool.
Aragriar's Whimsical World Warper. Play around with it, see where it takes you in the world. And some fun cosmetic items as well.
Oh, sick. I like that.
Here's a look at our set items. You can see that some set items actually have specific set bonuses for some classes.
This chest.
And we also have tokens now that will drop. Instead of having a gigantic loot list that contains all of the set pieces, and you're getting frustrated if the same set piece drops for a different class every week, we've introduced set piece tokens that can be used by everyone for a specific piece of your armor. So you can pick, if whoever loots the boot token, we'll be able to turn that into a vendor to redeem it for their set piece boots.
I don't mind set pieces.
With
that's
Nomer
fine.
gone, there's a couple updates that we're making to dungeons.
Okay.
The first of which are the addition of quality of life skill books. These are skill books that have a chance to drop off of certain creatures in 5-man dungeons,
Totemic
and they
projection.
add significant quality of
Redirect.
life spells to your
Enhanced
arsenal
blessings.
that
Ooh.
don't take up a rune slot. So we're excited for people to get their hands on these,
Wow.
and hopefully these solve some problems that players have been facing, such as
This is really big. So one of the problems, like we were talking about the other week when I was leveling Shaman, was like, okay, it would be cool to be able to get rid of your totems or to be able to move them. Right? Because when you're in a dungeon, the totem's down and it pulls more mobs and you wipe, and it's annoying. In Classic, you can't get rid of them unless you like place a new one continually, but that's also annoying. So then someone's like, oh, just add a rune slot to be able to get rid of your totems or to move your totems. The problem with that is that you now have an entire rune slot devoted to quality of life. And it's like, now my character's weak just to gain quality of life. That sucks. Like, it would never be worth deleting your totems instead of like Weigh the Earth or something, right? Or with Pallies, like Enhanced Blessings, I'm assuming it's just instead of a 5-minute buff, it's like a 30-minute buff or 15 or something. It would never be worth it to take it over like Crusader Strike or whatever. I haven't played Paladin yet in SOD, but you know what I'm saying. You don't want the power down just to gain quality of life. But with this, it's a skill book, so you can gain the quality of life without sacrificing runes, and I love that. That is so cool. Yeah. I really, really, really like that, man. So they added something new to give quality of life without rune slots.
Yes.
Massive win.
Short aura durations with paladin blessings, totem control as shaman, rogues being able to have a spell that allows them to manipulate what target their combo points are on, as well as many, many others that we're excited for players to find when they jump into phase 2. And I'd like to pass off the presentation to Nora to talk more about rune abilities. Thank you very much.
Deep freeze. Deep freeze.
Hey, my name's Nora Valletta, and I'm a lead software engineer on WoW Classic. The team is very excited for you to head out and find those new rune abilities coming soon in Phase 2 of Season of Discovery. I'm here to give you a sneak peek at some of those abilities, so let's dive in.
Okay.
Paladins. Sheath of Light will cause damage dealt with your melee weapon to also increase your spell power. It'll also cause your critical heals to apply an additional heal over time on the target.
Okay.
Guarded by the
Seems
Light
really
will
good.
cause your melee weapon hits to restore mana over time. However,
nice.
the amount healed by Flash of Light, Holy Light, and Holy Shock will be reduced by half.
Interesting. So it's kind of like in Wrath of the Lich King, Pallies have the mana back call. Was it Divine Plea or something? I can't remember the name of it. So you can like get more mana at the cost of your heals. I kind of like that. And then dealing damage 30% of the spell power for 1 minute, in addition to your critical heal. So it gives it like a little hot too.
Hunters.
It's really nice.
Melee Specialist is a passive ability which will reduce the cooldown of Raptor Strike, cause it to trigger instantly, and each usage of Raptor Strike has a chance not to trigger its cooldown.
Melee Hunter.
Melee Specialist will also remove the cooldown of Mongoose Bite. Trap Launcher allows you to
Cool.
place traps at any location within 40 yards, and allows you to place your traps while in combat. Additionally, your
Oh.
fire-based and frost-based traps have separate shared cooldowns.
Whoa. For PvP, that's
Warriors.
nuts.
Rallying Cry is a defensive ability
Okay.
which can be activated to increase the
We know
health
about
of
this
all
one.
party and raid members within 40 yards.
It's only
Blood
10
Surge
seconds.
gives some of your abilities a chance to make your next slam instant and cost no rage. Rogues. Use Shuriken
Slam
Toss to
procs,
throw a
okay.
shuriken at your enemy, dealing damage to your target and up to 4 additional nearby targets. Master of Subtlety causes attacks made while stealthed and for a short time after exiting stealth to cause additional damage.
I don't know if I like giving rogues AoE in Classic. I don't know if I like that overall. Like, you don't need to make rogues AoE based like they are in retail or something. Oh, it's for rogue tanks. Oh, like an Avenger Shield. Okay. I spoke too soon. Okay, if it's for rogue tanks and it's more just to gain threat, that makes sense because they need a way to actually build threat. Okay. I was thinking they're gonna stack attack power or whatever and use it for like AoE rotations, and, you know, and it just feels weird like that.
Priests.
Okay.
Cast Mind Spike to blast your target with Shadow Frost damage and apply a debuff, which increases the critical strike chance of your next Mind Blast on that target. This debuff can stack up to 3 times.
Damn.
And fan favorite from future expansions,
I'm gonna have to do a priest,
Pain
dude.
Suppression can be cast on a friendly target
Oh.
to significantly reduce their damage taken and increase their
I'm
resistance
gonna
to the
have
spell
to do a
mechanics for a
priest. I'm
short
gonna
time.
have to do a priest.
Warlocks. Invocation. When you refresh some of your damage over time effects while they have less than 6 seconds remaining, instant damage will be dealt to your target equal to 1 tick of that spell's periodic damage.
Okay.
So you no longer have to worry about refreshing your dots at the exact perfect moment. Dance of the Wicked will trigger a buff which increases you and your pet's dodge chance anytime either of you deal a critical strike to an enemy.
Wait, wouldn't it still be better to put your dot up at the, like, to save mana and more efficiency to wait till like the last second anyway? Like, am I missing something? I mean, it gives you like a double reason to do it, but for efficiency, you still want to, right?
You'll also both gain 2% of your maximum mana when that happens. Mages. Missile Barrage gives your Arcane Blast, Fireball, and Frostbolt spells a chance to reduce the channeled duration of your next Arcane Missile spell by half, reduce its mana cost to 0, and cause missiles to fire every 0.5 seconds.
So it's like a big missile proc.
Chronostatic
Okay.
Preservation is a really cool new spell that allows you to store some of your Arcane, Fire, and Frost energy for later use. You can only hold this energy for a short time before it combusts and expires,
Okay.
but you can unleash it to heal a friendly target. Shamans. Maelstrom Weapon causes
I don't know, man. So Missile Barrage is gonna help Arcane PvE. Fine, like, sure, that's great, cool. Chronostatic Preservation seems like a healing talent. Okay. Deep Freeze! I don't know, man, we'll see.
To heal a friendly
Maybe
target.
It'll seem okay, but...
Shamans. Maelstrom Weapon causes damage dealt with melee attacks to have a chance to reduce the cast time of your next Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning, Lesser Healing Wave, Chain Heal, or Lava Burst spell by 20%. The cast time reduction can stack up to 5 times. Spirit of the Alpha is a 30-minute buff that can be cast on a friendly target to increase the threat generated by that target. You can kind of think of it like the opposite of Blessing of Salvation. While some shamans choose to battle with one weapon in each hand, others prefer to dish out devastating blows with a two-handed weapon.
That's right.
If that sounds like you, then we have Two-Handed Mastery.
Oh,
Each time you strike an enemy with a two-handed weapon, you gain 30% attack speed with two-handed weapons for 10 seconds.
Oh my gosh, that seems crazy.
Anyways, it's
With
time
Wind
for me to pass
Fury?
things over to Anna Resendez, who will be sharing with you some updates on our new PvP event. Take it away, Anna.
That's huge. That's
Can't
huge.
wait for everyone to discover those new runes. They look
Anna.
amazing. Thank you, Nora. Hello, I am Anna Resendez, and I will talk to you about PvP. In this new level band, we're bringing a new PvP experience to you. You might have seen a little hint on our social media channels about this. So, our new PvP event is called the Blood Moon.
The Blood Moon.
The Blood
Cool.
Moon rises in Strangleton Vale, bringing with it absolute mayhem. When Ashenvale was created, we talked about how cool it would be for the event to be triggered by player activity in the area. After going through feedback and seeing how Ashenvale played, in this event, we wanted to take a different approach.
I like the
and
timer.
make it more predictable so you know when the battle will take
I
place.
like the timer, yeah.
So, the Blood Moon event will happen every 3 hours, and we have a duration of 30 minutes. Believe me, you will be able to tell when the event is happening. The Blood Moon will shine its effect during this time and bring in a mysterious red fog to the area.
That's so sick.
During this time, the whole zone will become a free-for-all PvP, meaning allies and enemies alike will be viable targets for your Blood Rage.
What?
Everyone that is in the zone during this time will become a target. During the event, killing other players will allow you to earn a currency.
Wait, so you can, as an alliance, you can kill other alliance. Okay, this reminds me of in Mist of Pandaria, on one of those islands, you could be like non-faction. What was it? Like with one of those tokens, and you could kill, yeah, the Timeless Isle. You guys remember that? And you could be like, you could turn into that red dude, and you could kill anyone you wanted, Horde or Alliance. Blood coins, yeah. So basically, if you're in Stranglethorn Vale during the event, you can just kill anyone, which I actually like. The reason I like it, or one of the reasons I like it, is because it solves faction balance right away. It's not like you're on Horde, so you're just on the losing side because Horde's a bunch of noobs. No, Horde doesn't have that excuse anymore because they are a bunch of noobs, but that's fine. Anyway, the point is, with free-for-all, even if there's 90% Alliance representation, Alliance can kill other Alliance. So it makes it instantly balanced like that. The downside is, yeah, you probably do want to be in larger groups. But still, man, imagine you're in a 5-man group and you're just like kind of maneuvering around the map and picking people off and kiting it out for days. Like this seems like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Which can be traded for various rewards. We'll talk about the rewards in a little bit. You can still group up, but be warned, the Blood Moon does not smile to those that battle in raid groups and will punish you for doing so.
What? Oh my gosh, it's the biggest W ever! Small scale PvP has always been king. So if you're in a large raid group, maybe you get like a debuff or something? Oh, this is brilliant. This is so good. I never thought of that. I always talked about on stream how raid group PvP always kills the vibe. Like 5-man skirmishes are great, 3-man great, 1vx is great, but like once you're in like a 20-30 man group, it just sucks every time. This is so cool, man.
Those, of course, who refuse to give in the thirst of the blood. If it's peace what you seek, you can opt out of the event at any time by talking to the Sandalari emissary.
Oh, interesting.
You will not be able to earn any rewards if you opt out, and remember that General Realm PvP zone rules will still apply. Another big difference from Ashenville is that there won't be any PvE objectives. That said, not only should you be wary of both enemies and allies alike, you should also keep an eye out for the Chosen of the Blood Loa, who will absolutely destroy you.
Oh, this is so cool.
River ring a bell? So, you might be wondering, how do I get my hands on that sweet rewards? There will be a merchant outside of Gurabashi Arena that will assist you with this. What about the rewards?
Majoring.
Well, there are dozens of new class-specific item rewards. Here are some examples of the new rewards that come with the event. Additionally, there are new quests that will help with your Arathi Basin reputation journey. Do you want to see more about the cool rewards? What about a new car?
Oh, that mount on the left is sick.
But yes, you're seeing correctly.
This mount is so cool.
There will be 2 new faction-agnostic mounts that you will be able to acquire related to this event. These level 40 mounts have an appearance that is completely new to the game. I hope to see you in the battlefield.
I like the Sabertooth a lot.
And up next, Josh will join us and he will talk to you about profession updates.
I'm blown away by the PvP update, man. That is sick.
Hello, my name is Josh Greenfield, Senior Game Producer on WoW Classic. Let's dive right in and talk about what we're going to be doing with professions in Phase 2. I want to start by saying that we've been really thrilled with the reception to our Professions editions in Phase 1. It was really exciting watching people sort of discover and unlock how to create your awesome, void touch leather gloves and your extra planar spider silk boots and all those things. And we're going to go ahead and expand on this quite a bit for Phase 2.
Cool.
There will be around 20 new recipes across all non-gathering professions. This also includes not just leatherworking, tailoring, and blacksmithing, but also alchemy, enchanting, and engineering as well. So we want to spread the love around here. We want to make sure everyone gets something really cool this time. So that's what we're going to do. Just like in Phase 1, there will be an epic quest chain to unlock this, and we won't spoil anything about that today. You're going to have to get in the game. You're going to have to kind of go through that yourself. But if you liked what we did in Phase 1, you'll probably like this too. Next, I kind of want to talk a little bit about just some of the recipes here. I'm not going to go into super great detail about what each of these are and all the stats and everything like that. As you can see, they're very powerful.
Yeah.
But one thing I do want to kind of call out is that you'll notice that a few of the materials required are brand new materials to the game, and a lot of them are used across different professions, some of these similar new materials. There's definitely going to be a trading and kind of economy aspect to these new professions recipes. And just like everything with Season of Discovery, we're most excited to see how players share resources and information to make these things. That's all we're going to say right now, but we think it's going to be a pretty fun thing to participate in the next phase. Few other things we kind of want to talk about is alchemy and enchanting in particular, when we were looking at what we wanted to do here, we could obviously add more consumables and we can add more enchants for enchanters. And to a degree, we did. There are new enchanting material recipes other than what you see here. But one of the things about these professions is that in a lot of cases, they don't do a whole lot for your personal throughput. If you're one of these professions, a lot of times you can make things, and a lot of times you can make a lot of gold off of having these professions. But in terms of your actual like damage output or healing output, they don't really bring anything that
right.
You can't have someone else craft for you and bring. So that's what we wanted to try here. In particular, if you'll notice on the left side, there's this new enchanted sigil innovation. And what this basically is that this is kind of like a world buff that you can carry around in your bag and give to yourself. And essentially, it has a 30-minute duration, but also a 30-minute cooldown. So if you die early, you will lose this for at least some period of time before you can put it back on. Same thing with Alchemist here. They have the ability to make this essentially damage and healing consumable, or damage and attack power consumable. And that also restores a little bit of health and a little bit of mana. So that's just something that's a little unique for them this time. And we hope that you like these things. We're looking for feedback on this sort of stuff for future phases.
Love it. Love it. Love it. I think adding reasons to do professions in World of Warcraft, especially classic World of Warcraft, makes a lot of sense. And in the past, it's always just, engineering is a must if you want a PvP, so you have to do that. Or, tailoring is a must for PvE if you're a mage, so you have to do that. Now it seems like you can kind of play the profession that you want to play, and every profession will get something kind of unique. So if you actually want to just be an enchanter because you want it to be an enchanter, you get something. I love it. I love it. It's good. It's really good.
So now that we've kind of gone through an overview, phase 2 and some of the things that are coming in it, we do want to kind of, I guess, hit a few of the frequently asked questions that we've gotten recently about things in phase 1 and some of the issues that have popped up and how we're addressing those, as well as just some curiosities about what else is coming in phase 2 and how specific things will work. So we're going to dive into a few of these kind of FAQ items and try and burn through as many of them as possible to give you a better idea of kind of what's going on and what our thought process on some of this stuff is. So cool. Let's just go ahead and hop right in. We will start today talking about raid schedule. We thought we'd start here because this is a pretty hot debate in the community right now. We've seen a lot of great feedback on this and have weighed a great many perspectives about, kind of when we should release the raid. Should we have it available from day one, or should we wait maybe a week or some other amount of time to unlock it globally at the same time? While it's impossible, we feel, to do something that will make every single person happy,
right, we
do think we can strike a bit of a compromise here.
Okay.
We understand that, the server or world first race is not just about who can zone in first. If the raid unlocks at an arbitrary global time. And for a large group of players, it's also about who can get in the fastest after leveling. And it's very exciting for them to see what they can do when they're under geared or maybe without their full toolkit of runes and other pre-raid items. And so, that is one argument we've heard in favor of not delaying it. And we think it's a very compelling one. It is very exciting to participate in that and to watch that. On the other hand, though, if you're one of those players, the many players who really like to take their time leveling, we realize that 3-day lockout puts you in a position where you may miss several lockouts before you hit 40. And while it's pretty unlikely to actually matter all that much in the long run, as you will have plenty of lockouts this phase, it does still feel kind of bad. And one of the things we wanted to avoid with this season was too much feeling of FOMO. Right. So by way of a compromise, what we're looking at doing this time is we will not delay the opening of the raid, but we will be putting the first 2 lockouts on kind of a normal weekly lockout timer. So that means that would reset on Tuesday in North America, Wednesday in Europe, and so on and so forth, whatever your regional unlock time or reset time is. So this means that the first lockout...
So players can get ahead, but they can't get too far ahead. Okay. I really must say I appreciate Josh's analysis and his breakdown of the thought process behind the decision making the devs are actually making. Instead of just saying, this is what we're doing, it's like, okay, we've heard the feedback, we've heard the 2 sides, and these are the 2 arguments, and based on that, we're coming to a conclusion. I really appreciate that as a player. It really helps me understand the decision making process. It's really cool.
Will occur on February 13th, again in North America. in the morning with maintenance. And then the second will occur the following Tuesday on February 20th, again in North America in the morning with maintenance. So
cool.
Each region you can offset for your regional maintenance time. What this allows us to do is, if enable folks who really want to push day one to get in as fast as possible and get that first, like world first or server first clear, or just the bragging rights of saying you did it first. That's something that we don't want to take away from you. But this also reduces the number of lockouts that are possible in that time period, so that players who are leveling a little bit more casually or a little slower pace may not feel like they missed out on as much.
Cool.
It's not a perfect solution, and that's one thing we really want to stress, is that when you deal with a game like World of Warcraft and on this scale, there's no objectively correct answers. There are every decision we make, there's going to be people who like it and there's going to be people who would prefer something else. But we feel that this acknowledges both major perspectives without really depriving either group of something special. So we really hope that you like it, and we're going to keep looking at feedback on this. If this is something that works out well, we may carry this forward into future phases, and if not, we may just go back to the drawing board and try something else. But we really, really, really appreciate the ton of feedback we've gotten from the community on this. We've been watching social media, we've been watching forums, we've really been watching a lot of the commentary on this, and we couldn't have nothing we do without looking at and listening to what you guys are saying. So thank you so much for that. Cool. Next thing we want to talk about a little bit is PvP matchmaking. We realize that it can be frustrating to get matched against a full pre-made when queuing solo. However, we do still have significant concerns about completely bifurcating PvP queues into a separate PvP or small group queue. What this means essentially is if you're in a group of 5 or less, you'll have a dramatically higher chance to also get matched against groups of 5 or less. And if you're in a group of 6 or more, same deal, you'll have a higher chance to get matched against larger groups or full groups. If the queues are long or the matchmaker can't find...
How is Blizzard getting so many W's lately? What is going on? What is going on? These are all intelligent solutions that aren't necessarily immediately obvious, that when you think about them more, make a lot of sense. But it actually required some level of thought, some level of critical thinking for them to sit down and be like, okay, this is a problem. What should we do to fix it? Okay, let's try this. I'm really impressed. So yeah, this is an issue. And like Josh said, if you completely just say, okay, if you're in a group of 5 or less, you queue into 5 or less, and 6 or more is 6 or more, kind of like Wrath, and the queues get so long then you never get a pop. That's not a good solution, right? It's good in the short term maybe, but as the game matures, it's a terrible solution because you never can queue any battleground because the queues won't pop and the game's dead and then whatever. This is smart. This is really smart.
A good group that fits within these parameters after a certain amount of time.
It's the new president.
It'll abandon these rules and go ahead and match you with the first available so you can at least play a game. But by and large, we feel that this will help the situation a lot for those who just kind of want to queue up solo or just with a few friends and not feel like they're always going against pre-made. We do want to stress again, though, that we firmly believe that activities like PvP Battlegrounds are just more fun and less stressful when players group up and coordinate. We can understand that if you just want a PvP and you don't want to join a group for it, it can be a little bit more frustrating than you feel it needs to be. But ultimately, coordination within your team, whether it's a pre-made or not, is going to be the key to success in any activity like organized PvP when you're playing against other players. Even when queuing solo, we encourage you to be as positive team members and coordinate with your groups to have the best time possible. So next, another common question is that what the leveling buff will look like. We mentioned this at BlizzCon, that whenever the level cap increases, we will put in a level an XP buff for the previous level band.
Yeah.
And so what you can expect, for that. Also, we've gotten a lot of questions about what you can expect if you say you've done all the quests available to you at level 25, and what do you do for leveling it, from like 25 to 30 if you've done all those quests. So for the first question, we'll be providing a flat 50% XP buff from the 1 through 25 range, so that if you do start a new character or a new alt, if you have a friend that's joining in phase 2, you should be able to get caught up to level 25 fairly quickly with that buff. The other thing that we're doing in order to help the second situation where you may feel like you've done all the quests you can and you're not sure how best to level, we are going to make the Blackfathom Deeps raid give a very significant amount of experience when cleared in phase 2 when you're over level 25. It's keeping the lockout it has now, a 3-day lockout, to encourage players not to just do it every single day.
I like that,
and
actually.
Engage in other activities, but it will be very lucrative and worth doing.
The reason I like that is because if you don't make BFD really sexy or exciting to do, in 6 months from now, people will just skip it. People will just skip BFD altogether. No one will be forming groups, which means no one will be looking for groups because no one will be doing it. People will skip BFD altogether. They'll just level right past it because the XP is super quick and BFD will be long and forgotten. But if it's a very sizable amount of XP, people will actually take the time to form the group, run BFD, get some good loot along the way, and get a ton of XP on that 3-day lockout. So people will continually do BFD raids as a leveling experience. And I think that's brilliant. Cool.
As long as it continues to give experience, which will probably be sometime into the mid or late 30s. Lastly, Waylaid supplies are also seeing some adjustments. We're not quite ready to talk about the full suite of adjustments coming here because some of them are still undergoing tuning, but we are going to significantly increase the XP rewards for it, particularly in the ones from the 25 to 40 range. There will be new Waylaid supplies turn-ins, and we want to make sure that they're very rewarding and there's something that you want to do. And we're also looking at removing some of the frustrations from this. Again, not quite ready to talk about the full details there, but you know, if you've had concerns with some of the frustrating aspects of them, then we're hoping to address some of those in the next phase as well. So stay tuned for a little bit more a little bit more information about that. And we'll have more, you know, as we get really close to patch.
Yeah, right now, it's not even worth turning them in, so that's really good.
A few minor adjustments to Ashenvale are coming. There will be fewer people in Ashenvale, specifically when the level cap increases. So we're going to go ahead and move the event to a rigid 3-hour timer.
I like that.
Similar to what Anna talked about with the Stranglethorn Veil event. This will basically be every 3 hours on the mark. And it will happen without player intervention. Do note, though, we don't want to make you choose between doing an Ashenvale battle and a Stranglethorn Veil battle. So the Ashenvale timer will be offset by 1 hour from Stranglethorn. So if Stranglethorn starts at noon, this will start at 1 p.m. and they should never overlap.
Wow. So if there's another World PvP event next level band, then you could potentially World PvP in Ashenvale, then in Stranglethorn Veil, and then say the next one's in like, you know, wherever, Tenaris or something, I don't know, then you could constantly, potentially just bounce between zones and find constant world PvP throughout the day. Maybe not constant, but there should be like stuff for PvPers to engage in throughout the day. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so we're pretty excited about that, and we hope that the Ashenvale battles continue. One other thing that is kind of a common question and topic is kind of what are we going to do with the world buffs in the next phase? Simply put, we're going to go ahead and cap them. The Ashenvale Weekly Cuss world buff is going to be capped at level 39, and the Black Fathom Deeps world buff is also going to be capped at 39. So you can enjoy those while you're leveling, but once you hit 40, you'll no longer basically be able to gain the benefit of those.
Really good.
Please also note that the Stranglethorn Veil PvP event will not actually have a world buff this time, but no more gone well. Our goal is really to keep each phase's world buffs fun and exciting, but we don't want to add too much overhead to the evolving endgame. And we don't want it to be a slog to have to go all over the world to get all of these world buffs. And especially once we hit 60, we don't want you to have to slog through going all over the world and getting every world buff. So
that was one of my major concerns right away when they added in the BFD world buff. I'm like, oh, so level 60s are gonna have to clear BFD to like, that's bad. So we weeks ago we're chatting about potential solutions, and this is one of the things. Like, you just can't get it as you level up, and I think that's great.
So that's where we landed on that. We're obviously open to feedback on any of this, so please let us know what you think. Profession specializations. This is another really hot topic in the community. Just like with phase 1, when we capped professions at 150, with phase 2, we will be capping them at 225.
Good. Okay.
And additionally, we've decided that profession specializations will also not be available until phase 3.
Fine.
So that's when the level cap goes to 50. We feel that profession specializations outside of engineering and a few other exceptions are kind of lackluster at original WoW, and we really want to do something fun and cool here, and we really want to take our time to do it right. So for
I'm
phase
excited.
3,
cool.
Profession specializations are going to have a large focus, and you know, obviously we're not going to talk about it now, but do stay tuned for more information on profession specializations as we move closer to phase 3. Thank you. Another common question that we get that is somewhat frustrating to answer simply because kind of the more we talk about it, the faster bad actors can work around our efforts, but it's botting and exploitative accounts in general. Botting is sort of a colloquial term that includes a lot of things, including just exploitative gameplay that players engage in. And it has a negative impact on the game. It really does. It's something we don't like. It's something we actually hate. We spend a lot of time and a lot of effort trying to combat. And while we can't really talk about the specifics of what we're doing, we do want to talk about some really exciting new tech that's coming with Phase 2. We've had this in limited testing on live, both in Classic of its various flavors and Modern for quite some time, and we've seen some very positive results from it. And so we want to set expectations that there's never going to be a time where World of Warcraft or really any online game is going to be completely free of bad actors and malicious accounts. But we're very positive about the results we've seen from this new tech, and we're really excited to see it.
Another big W.
Paradoxically as well, kind of the more effective we are at some of these things, the more outwardly visible the bad actors can become. A lot of times following many of our ban waves, you may actually see increased bot activity as bot farms essentially spin up new accounts and start over.
Oh, true, yeah.
But there's been a few instances of this happening. We do a large ban wave, and then everyone, I see videos posted online of streams of bots going from one part of the world to the other. But when you see that stuff and when you report it, it actually helps us clamp down on that new method as well. And it gets the bot farms into a position where they are constantly kind of 2 steps forward and like 2 steps backwards. So that is really helpful. And as much as it's frustrating to see, we really want to encourage you to continue to help us by reporting things. And we're going to continue to do exhaustive work on our side for this issue. Always a frustrating thing, never easy to talk about, but we really appreciate your patience with us. So the last topic that we really want to talk about, and this is kind of a big one.
Here we go.
Is just jumping right into it, starting with Phase 2 of Season of Discovery. We're going to be experimenting with a new policy change. GDKP will no longer be permitted in Season of Discovery realms. And to kind of recap, for anyone who does not know what GDKP or gold bid raids or dungeons are, it's essentially a raid or a dungeon run where the loot rules is that all loot that is distributed is essentially purchased with gold. So items...
That Twitch chat is just full of W's, and one guy goes, "Ow!" Like, dude, just...
an item will drop. It's then put up for bid by the loot master or whoever's doing the loot. And interested parties then bid gold for the item. And the highest bid wins. And when the gold is received, it's split within the participants of the raid. This is something we've been discussing for a very long time on WoW Classic, and it's not a decision we've arrived at lightly. It's fair to say that GDKP has some benefits to individuals who don't want to be tied to a traditional guild or set raid schedule, and GDKPs are, while largely transactional, another social activity in the game, and we're always hesitant to discourage anything that gets people in groups and playing together. However, we do remain concerned that GDKP erodes traditional guild and social structures that are in many cases the basis of our most fond memories of original World of Warcraft. And it's undeniable that GDKP contributes to and drives a lot of malicious accounts, illicit activity, RMT, botting, all of the things we just talked about. Season of Discovery is highly experimental in its nature, and we take chances, and this is another chance we're taking. We want to give an honest try to a version of World of Warcraft without GDKP present, and this is our best opportunity for that. So as of the launch of Phase 2 on February 8th, GDKP will no longer be permitted in Season of Discovery. We're going to release additional communications with another FAQ to kind of go with this FAQ, talking about this. And, once we do, we'll have that posted on forums and stuff. We'd really like to hear what you think. And we're going to really monitor feedback closely on this. This is a test, and ultimately this decision came as a result of your feedback. And so, we want to hear more of what you think of this. We want to hear how it goes as we move through this next phase. And if it doesn't work out, we'll revisit this policy for future phases. We really appreciate everyone who has expressed that feedback and concerns on this topic. Thank you.
Okay, I have a lot of questions. The first and most obvious question to me is, how do you enforce this? If GDKPs are banned, are people going to call it something slightly different and mail the gold after, right? Like, how are you going to enforce this? That's like my number one question. The second thing I want to mention is I like this last bullet. We want to give it a try. Let's see what happens, right? A lot of people have been asking for this for a very long time. Maybe we're all wrong, but let's try it and see the outcome. I love it. I love the humility there. Instead of Blizzard just being like, this is what we're doing and you're gonna like it. It's like, here player base, this is what you've been asking for. Let's try it and see how it does in practice. Because in theory, maybe it's good, but in practice, maybe it sucks ass. So here, try it out. Have some fun. Oh, this sucks. Let's remove it. I love that versus this is what we're doing. And that's it. Because we said so. You know, like this is cool. I like that. All right. So why do I think GDKP ban is a W? Well, the most obvious reason is because you can buy gold on websites and people do it all the time. And when people buy gold, then you collect a lot of gold, go into a GDKP, and you're essentially buying items with real life money, and that becomes transactional, and that becomes trash, right? It ruins and undermines the entire gaming experience of why we play WoW. It sucks, right? For lack of a better term, it sucks. GDKPs when you buy gold suck. Now, let me also say this. In a perfect world, if no gold buying ever took place, I actually love GDKPs. I think they're very unique. I think they're a very smart system. And when I first heard about them, I'm like, that's brilliant. You can either make gold or you can bid gold on items. Like it's really at its core fundamental aspect of GDKPs are awesome. I'm a huge fan, but that's not the world we live in. That's not reality. Reality is people buy gold. They're incentivized to buy gold, and gold buying continues to happen. Gold sellers continue to profit off of it. And then people undermine the entire social aspect of WoW, join a GDKP, get full gear, and then end up quitting or whatever anyway. And that sucks. That's a massive L for the game. So we have two different conversations going here. What GDKPs could be if gold selling didn't exist. But since gold selling does exist, the conversation I think is more productive to have is, since gold selling does exist and you can't ever fully get rid of it, removing an incentive to buy gold is probably a good thing to combat bots, to combat gold buying, and to combat gold selling, and to restore fundamental social aspects of the game. So that is why I think GDKP bans are a massively big W from Blizzard. I still have the questions of what's the accountability here? What are you gonna do? Just permanently ban accounts? You are giving them temp bans? Are you making it like, how are you actually gonna police this thing? Because I don't know how it's gonna be possible. Realistically, I don't actually know. But yeah, I think that pretty much explains. Now, we do have a follow-up blue post. So before I even talk about this too much, there is a brand new blue post that just came out 9 minutes ago. GDKPs in Season of Discovery. Okay, starting with Phase 2 of SOD, we're going to experiment with the policy change. Okay, yeah, no more. We will no longer support or allow GDKP gold beds. Yeah, what's a GDKP? Why is it being restricted? We know exactly what GDKPs are. You buy with gold. Yep, it's fair to say GDKPs has some benefits to individuals who want it to be tied to a guild or a set raid schedule. GDKP raids are, well, mostly transactional in nature and other social activity in the game, and we're hesitant to discourage anything. Yeah, so we've pretty much heard all of this, right? It creates this arms race. People, it incentivizes RMT and botting. It's just not good in the world that we live in. We've seen a lot of feedback and requests from players for us to try putting restrictions on the system, and since SOD is highly experimental in its nature, this seems like a good opportunity to try to support a version of WoW without GDKP. Great, yeah, cool. All right, so what exactly constitutes a gold bid? We're defining GDKP as a raid or dungeon where items are rewarded in exchange for gold. Please note we have multiple detection methods for GDKP that are effective both in and outside of dungeons. Okay, so the detective methods, I'm really curious. Can you not trade gold for items? People will just do it after. I'm really curious how this is actually going to work. What are the penalties? Okay, great question. Account actions up to and including suspension and permanent account closure. Whoa. 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 I was not expecting that. Is that a, yeah, I mean, is there an alternative way? I mean, I wouldn't want to see someone get banned for accidentally doing this, or like trying to think. Is there a better way? Another way you could do it more systematically is to remove master looting, but then that would suck too. Or like remove the 2-hour trade window or something. Or make the trade window like 10-minute. No, you could just do it after every boss. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like a way that you just make it so it's physically impossible to do in the game versus banning people. I don't know. Personal loot, yeah, I don't know. Okay, so they're literally, I'd have to think about that more. But yeah, they're literally just going to ban people. Okay. That's all right. When exactly does the policy go into effect? We'll enact the policy alongside the release of P2 on February 8th at 1 p.m. All right, guys. No more buying gold. All right. If you buy gold, just get out of here, man. All right. No more buying gold. No more GDKPs. None of that trash. All right. We're playing video games. Okay. Does this policy change affect WoW Era, Classic Hardcore, Wrath, or any other version? No. So I actually am like, okay, I agree with this. But if this change is successful, I would love to see it go through other versions. But we'll see. We'll see if people end up liking it. Or if people end up not liking it. I mean, I can't see it as anything but a W, but hey, if it is a W, rolling it out to the other versions of WoW might be a really cool idea. I don't know. And yeah, like, well, time will tell. Time will tell. Have there been any changes to policies around what it is allowed to be advertised in trade or looking for group chat? Yes, to go along with the updated policy, it's no longer permitted to advertise gold bid to get P runs. Wow. So that's the update right there. That's the update, man. That's wild. I can't believe they're doing it. I can't believe they're doing it. Now Mitch can't play the game. Mitch didn't even do GDKPs, did he? So it'll all be done in a Discord instead of in game. That's my point. I'm curious about detection methods and how they're gonna actually police this thing. Yes, he did. He did a few of them, but he didn't do them like that consistently, right? I mean, it's just here and there. It's not like he needs them. Someone was like, "Oh, Mitch is over." Discord should get peers going to get suspended, then cry about it being found out and suspended. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if they actually. We'll see how good they are at finding the people that do GDKPs and actually banning them. If GDKPs are actually over, I don't know. Like I said, man, in a perfect world, I wish GDKPs could exist because I think they're brilliant. I think I like them a lot in a perfect world, but we don't live in a perfect world. We live in a flawed world where people just buy gold and undermine the entire social aspect of the entire game. And they buy the gold, they join, all right, you want to know why I'm more personally affected by this? Like, I'm just going to give you guys one example of something that's happened to me. I've joined a GDKP, and I'll keep these players anonymous. I won't say their names. To buy the Turning Tide on Wrath of the Lich King, because I was going for rank 1, Deadly Gladiator, and I wanted that Turning Tide Season 5, Wrath of the Lich King, baby. We get into the raid, we're farming Nax, and the Turning Tide drops, and I'm over here. I farmed out like 30k gold or something. Like I farmed out like a lot of gold. Turning Tide drops, and a known gold buyer who, by the way, was invited into the GDKP mid-run because he's a known shark, meaning people that run the GDKP want him in the run because they know he's gonna bid on every item that drops, overbid it so they make more money. So he joins mid-run because he's a known shark, known gold buyer, has infinite pockets. The Turning Tide drops, and he puts up 100k gold instantly. No one else has anywhere near 100k gold, and I don't get the Turning Tide after having more gold than anyone else besides the gold buyer in the group, and it completely ruined my excitement for Wrath of the Lich King raiding. Completely yoinked from a gold buyer. Now, why is this relevant? It's relevant because these gold buyers will always be there. There's no way to get rid of them completely. There is no way for that situation to not occur besides banning GDKPs from the system. That's just how it goes. right? You either buy the gold or you don't get the loot. I mean, yeah. I guess TTV, thanks for the prime. Zona, thanks for the Twitch prime. Kazar, thanks for the prime. Smash the Keys, thanks for the prime. Apex, thanks for the prime. If I missed you guys, thank you for the subs from the bottom of my heart. I'm a little, I'm lagging on the primes today, man. Massive W's all around, yeah. W decision, F GDKPs. Tones, thanks for the prime. Can we get W's or L's in the chat for this change? Just W's or L's? W's or L's? All around. GameStop stock in the background. Whoops. Okay, let's on. www. There's an L here. There is one L. There is an L. www. There's two L's. www. Okay. I just wanted to make sure. Okay. So yeah, most people are very excited. Now we'll see how it plays out in practice. You know what I'm saying? We'll see what happens.